How are you?
Good.
Good.
Hope the weather in Canmore is as nice as it is in Medicine Hat.
Really? Is it nice there?
Beautiful.
Oh, it is. It's not too bad, I guess, but it's like definitely close to winter. It's pretty chilly here today. Well, I guess that's what we signed up for. Okay, let's get started, shall we? You can see that. Okay, great. Okay, we are going to start seated. Find yourself in a comfortable position. Close down the eyes, bring the hands to the knees. Start to focus on your breathing. Deepening your breath. Long, steady exhales. Take one more breath. And just start to center yourself, set your intention for your practice. And then we'll start to blink open the eyes. We're going to start with our elbows out to the sides. We're just going to slowly start to rotate back and forth. This is a little bit of core activation to start. As always, you can go as fast or as slow as you feel like your body needs. We're not using the hand on the knee or anything for extra leverage, so we're not twisting past the point that the body naturally wants to go. And just notice if your breathing's changed. The next time you're over to the left, bring the right hand to the left knee and the left hand behind you, and we're twisting. And this twist should feel nice and easy. Long, straight spine, left fingertips helping you to get that flat back. And then start to come through center, left hand to right knee, twist the other way. Come back into center, bring your hands to your knees. We're going to do a few suki grinds, so just big circles with the torso. Getting into the hips. Start to switch directions. Let's go the other way. Come back up into center. Switch the way that the legs are crossed. So the way that's just a little bit less natural. We're going to do that again. Make circles with the torso. And switch directions. Start to make your way back into center. We're going to bring the feet out in front of us. Bring the hands out in front and slowly make it last 10 seconds to come all the way down to your back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way down. Bring your feet as close as you can to your bum. And on your next inhale, lift the hips all the way up. Come into bridge. Roll your shoulders underneath you. Big back bend to start. Bring some energy into the body. Knees coming in. Take 2 more breaths. And then start to slowly lower everything back down. Bring your feet wide on your mat and your knees can come in together. Bit of internal rotation. And then we're just going to start to windshield wiper the legs. So bring the knees over to the right, and then the left, going back and forth. The knees a little more into the hips. The next time your knees are over to the right, you can bring them down. Or if this doesn't feel good on your left hip, you can always stack the knees one on top of the other into your big spinal twist instead. This version of the knees apart is more for the left hip instead of a spinal twist. We won't hold it quite as long. So just take 1 more breath. And then come back to windshield wiper your knees back and forth. The next time your knees go over to the left, bring them both down. If you don't feel much in the right hip, you can tilt your pelvis under and sort of try to push the right hip forward. And that should bring you a little bit more of a stretch. One more breath. And then come up to center, hug the knees into your chest. Rock side to side, a little bit on the spine. Bring the hands under the knees. Let's rock up and down the spine now a few times. This is always a fun one. And then when you get back to seated, roll up over your ankles. We're coming into tabletop. Once you get into this tabletop position, we'll go through a few slow cat-cows. So nice slow inhale, bring the chin up in the tailbone. Exhale, round out the back, push it towards the ceiling. 2 more times like this, going nice and slow, big deep breaths. Come back into neutral. Push the ribs out a few times from side to side. And then we're going to tuck the toes under. Before we move into our first downward dog, just push back with the hands, stretch out the feet for a couple seconds. And then if you want to wake your wrists up a little bit more, you can lean forward again and bring your fingertips back so they are facing your knees. You might not get all the way around depending on how your wrists feel. And then if you want a bit of a stretch, you can lean back just slightly. Start to unwind the wrists, bring them forward. Sit back onto your heels, bring the backs of the hands down. And we'll lean back, push your elbows forward, big forearm stretch. This will probably be pretty tender. Focus on your breathing until some of that tension starts to dissipate. And then you can start to release, roll the wrists a few times. Stretch. Reach forward with your hands, tuck the toes again, lift the hips all the way up, come into downward dog. You keep a big bend at the knee if your hamstrings aren't ready to be in downward dog yet. And then just start to pedal up your feet, get into the calves a little bit. When you're ready, start to walk to the top of the mat, fold forward when you get there, heavy head. We'll roll the spine all the way up to stand on your next inhale. Big exhale at the top. Loop the shoulders up, back, and down a couple times. And then on your next inhale, bring the hands overhead, look up towards the ceiling, stretch, and exhale, fold forward. Come up halfway, flat back. Bring your hands down. Take the right foot all the way behind you. Bring the back knee down. And we'll come up into this half kneeling position. We're going to bring your hands to your left knee. Tuck the tailbone under, tilt the pelvis. A little bit more stretching the hip. If you don't feel much going on, you can lean all the way forward instead. If you want more of a stretch all the way up the chain, you can bring the right hand up overhead, or both hands and bring the hands over to the left. Wherever you are now, we're going to start to lean forward. And then come up onto the back toes. We're going to shift into this lateral lunge position. So we're up on the left toes. Our right toes are also up in the air, so we're getting a big stretch in the right adductor. And you can keep your fingertips on the floor. You can bring your hands up into prayer. You can reach all the way forward, so you're getting a stretch through the lats. Lots of options, always in every position. When you're ready, we're just going to push up and back and land in Warrior Two. Plug the shoulders into the back. Straighten the back leg, bend the front knee. And breathe. Focus on your strength and stability. And then more options here. You can bring elbow to knee and the right hand overhead, or you can straighten the front leg and bring your hand to your shin into triangle. So whichever feels better for you right now, with the bent knee and the elbow on the knee, or straight leg, triangle instead. If your elbow's on your knee, you can play with the bind. If you want to go there. Wherever you are, we're going to start lifting up with the core, coming into Exalted Warrior, left hand overhead. And then let's cartwheel the hands down to frame the left foot. Take the left foot back beside the right, hold your plank. And then you can bring the knees down, or not. If you want a bit more of a challenge, lower all the way to the front of the body. Bring your hands slightly out in front. Inhale, lift up, pull forward into your cobra. And exhale, release, come back down, take a breath. Bring Bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. We're going to push back up into plank. Hold here 2 breaths. And then send the hips all the way back into your downward facing dog. We're going to bring the right leg up into the air behind us. You can bend the knee, open up the hip to the side wall. You can do knee circles. You can keep the legs straight. Whatever feels good. We're going to rock forward once, bring the knee to the nose, and then send the foot all the way back. And then rock forward again, step the right foot between the hands. And we're going to bounce up into a standing splits. Start to bend the left knee, tuck it in towards you. This part can be a little bit of a challenge, requires a lot of balance, but you're going to come all the way up to stand without your left foot touching the ground. If it does, obviously, that's okay. Work in progress. From here, grab onto the left shin, pull in towards you. And then a little bit more balance, still with the left knee bent. You're going to flex the left foot, left hand comes to the inside of the foot, and then you're kicking the foot back into the hand, coming into dancer's pose. Move nice and slow and controlled. Find a single spot on the wall to focus, to help your balance. If you fall out of it, just come right back in. One more breath. Come back up to standing. Left foot beside the right, shake it out. Close down the eyes. Notice how different your right leg feels from your left. And then just bring yourself back to your breath. Taking a little break between sides. Refocus on your intention. On your next inhale, start to blink your eyes open. And bring your arms up overhead, reach up. Fold forward on your breath out. Lift up halfway. And then bring your hands down, step the left foot all the way back behind you. Bring the back knee down, come up into half kneeling. Hands on the right knee and tuck the tailbone under. Or you can be leaning all the way forward if that feels better in the left hip. You can always take the left hand overhead for more of a stretch all along the left side, or both hands overhead, bring them over to the right. Now we'll all start to come forward if you're not there already. Pick up the back knee and turn into this lateral lunge. Up on the right toes. Left toes are also in the air. Big stretch in the left adductor. Hands to heart center. Down in front or far out in front. Stretching out to the side body. Wherever you choose to be, take one more big breath. And then push all the way up and back into warrior two. Let the shoulders into the back. 2 big breaths here. And then your choice, elbow to knee or straight leg into triangle, left hand is overhead. And you can bind on the side. You did that on the other side. Start to lift up all the way into Exalted Warrior. And then we'll cartwheel the hands down to frame the right foot. Step it back beside the left in our plank. Hold, take 2 breaths. And then lower all the way to the front of your body. We're going to do a little bit of quad stretching. So reach the right arm out so you can rest your head on the right arm. Bend the left knee, grab onto the ankle, and then push the left hip down into the mat while you pull your ankle and foot towards you. A lot of people have really tight quads unless you're consistently stretching and foam rolling. So stay here for a few more breaths. Start to release, take the left arm out in front, move your head over to the other side. Pick up the right foot and grab onto the ankle. Push the right hip down into the mat. Pull the foot towards you. Two more breaths. And release. Start to bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. Push up to plank, hold 2 breaths. And then send the hips all the way back into your downward dog. Pedal up the feet, take 2 more breaths here. Start to pick up the left foot, take it all the way into the air. Bend the knee if that feels good. You can do some knee circles. We're going to rock forward, bring knee to nose, and then send the left foot back into the air. Rock all the way forward, step the left foot between the hands, and then bounce up off the right foot into standing splits. Start to tuck the right knee in and balance all the way up to stand with the right knee in the center of your chest. Grab onto that shin, pull the knee in towards you. And then take the knee all the way back, down, so you can grab onto the inside of the right foot. Kick back into your hand, come into dancer's pose on this side. when you're ready, start to come back into center. Let your foot go, bring it back down beside the left, shake everything out. And then take a big breath, close the eyes. Center back into feet. Feel where your weight is. On your next inhale, start to open your eyes. Bring the hands up overhead, reach up. Fold all the way forward. Lift up halfway, straight spine. Bring your hands down. Step both feet all the way back to downward facing dog. 2 breaths. On your next inhale, take the right foot up into the air. Rock forward again, knee to nose. Back, send the right foot in the air. Rock forward, bring right knee to left elbow, and then extend the leg and come onto the sides of both feet and onto the right hand. Left hand goes overhead. So this is a version of a side plank. If this feels really challenging, go back into your downward dog, and you can stay there. You can go into child's pose. You can add in a vinyasa, if that feels better to do right now. Strengthening through our obliques and our abs. Take one more breath, and then start to bring the left hand back down, and the right foot all the way back to downward facing dog. Take a breath. Same thing here, we're gonna rock all the way forward and move through a vinyasa. So you can come down through chaturanga push-up and upward dog back into downward dog. You can bring your knees down and go through cobra. You can move into a child's pose if adding vinyasa right now doesn't feel good, depending on how much intensity you're after. Take 2 more breaths wherever you are. And then we'll take the right foot into the air again. Rock forward, step it to the outside of the right hand. Bring the back knee down. And we are in our lizard position. So you can stay up on your hands and go down to your elbows. You can leave the left hand down, turn this into a twist by bringing right hand to right knee. And opening up the chest. If none of these feel great, you've had enough hip stretching, you can always send the hips all the way back for a right hamstring stretch instead. Okay, if you're not already up on your hands, come back to your hands. Pick up the back knee. Take the right foot out to the side and sweep it all the way back to plank. And then bring the knees down, come all the way to child's pose. Rock your head a few times from side to side. Let's bring the hands all the way over to the right. Bring your forehead back down. Pull through the left fingertips. So you're getting a big stretch through the left side of the body around the ribs. And breathe into that space. Let's walk the hands through the center all the way over to the left. Pull through the finger pads on the right hand. Bring the hands back into center. Come all the way up into tabletop and then lift the hips into downward facing dog. Moving into our last little bit of intensity here. Pick up the left foot, take it into the air behind you. Rock forward, knee to nose. Rock back, left foot in the air. Rock forward, left knee to right elbow, and then take it out to the side. Roll onto the sides of your feet for your side plank. Or, if you didn't do this on the other side, back into child's pose, downward dog, or adding in another vinyasa of your choice. One more breath. Start to bring the right hand back down. Left foot steps back into down dog, side to right. Big breath. Bring your left foot back into the air. Step it to the outside of the left hand. Bring the back knee down, bring lizard on this side. So you can stand on your hands, down to your elbows. Whatever you did on the other side to bring you some balance. Same thing on this side. If none of the hip stuff is feeling great, send your hips all the way back for a hamstring stretch on the left side. Wherever you are, start to shift forward so you're back up on your hands. Pick up the back knee. Take the left foot out to the side and all the way back into plank. And then move through your vinyasa. Back up into downward facing dog. And let the feet shift forward, bring the knees down, sit back. One more time into child's pose. Slowly start to bring your torso up. We'll cross the ankles behind us and roll back to seated. Back here in our starting position. Hands on your knees, take a big breath. Bring the right hand down beside you. Inhale the left arm up overhead, side body stretch. And then let's go through center, left hand down, the other way. Come back into center, switch the way that the legs are crossed. We're gonna do that one more time on each side. Bring the right hand down, left arm up and over. If you can get a bigger stretch if you push your palm up instead of just your fingertips. So push through your palm. And let's go through center to the other side. Come back into center. And for the last bit of class, you can choose this to move into Shavasana if you'd like, or we can go to the Karani, which is legs up the wall, which is my favorite thing ever. I love legs up the wall, so that's where I'm gonna head to finish class. And I also just wanted to show you this thing because this is a really cool thing to add if you get tension headaches. I forget what it's called, but I'll send you the link for it. It doesn't say on the back. But you put this right underneath your head when you're doing legs at the wall, and it's a great way to relieve some neck tension, some shoulder tension, some tension headaches, if that's something that happens to you. I've only had this thing for about a month, but I feel like it's helped me tremendously. I love it, so I'll send it your way. But we're gonna move to the wall for about 5 minutes so we can get all that good blood flow and lymphatic drainage. Whew. If you have a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball, you can put that under in your occipital region as well, but that's a little bit more intense and not quite as balanced because you probably have to hold it in a certain spot with your hands. If your legs are up the wall and you're not totally ready to just relax down into it, you can bring the left foot flat on the wall, cross the right foot over the left knee and come into figure 4 with some resistance of the wall pushing back against you, depending on how close your bum is to the wall. If you're doing figure 4 on the one side, you can switch, move to the other side. we're in figure 4. Start to release, take your legs straight up. Okay, if your legs are at the wall and that feels really good right now, you can stay. If you're ready to come back to your mat, just tuck your knees into your chest, roll to one side. Same thing if you're in Shavasana, start to make your way up to seated. Bring your hands to your knees or up in heart center. Take one big inhale. Exhale out the mouth. Thanks for practicing with me tonight. Namaste. I hope you have a great